Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside the Ropes. Yet again, we're getting to this point in videos where you can see who I'm talking about, but I need to give them an intro anyway. What do I say? I mean, former WWF superstar. For me, what I would say is ECW legend, because growing up, man, I loved watching this guy. I'm going to be honest, I don't like him quite so much now, purely because I've started playing a game called Retro Mania, and I'm pretty bad at it. I'm seeing his face over and over again at one point where I'm very stuck at the game. So that's, I mean, I'm sure we can get past that. I'll try not to let it influence me too much today. Blue Meanie, how's it going?
Oh, thanks for that introduction, man. I'll PayPal you some money for like the kind of words there. No,
Not
thank
often you
much.
get someone saying you're a legend, but saying they hate you as well in an intro.
I hate that legend, but hey, I got, I'm 48. I gotta take the compliments where I can get them.
Most definitely. Well, I mean, the one thing that I missed out there that I definitely need to ask you about: WWE. We've seen you in WWE. ECW. We've seen you there. I'm not sure many people predicted that we would see Blue Meanie in AEW in 2021. Loved it. I mean, what a pop. You get some crowd reaction as well. That's got to feel good. But I need to ask, how did it all come about?
Oh, well, thank you, man. I guess, since, shows are in Philly and I live in Philly, I'm kind of a cheap date. So there's no airfare, no hotel, just show up and hang out in catering for a little bit. And then no, I'm just kidding. They reached out and said, hey, we're in Philly. Tony Khan's a big ECW fan. When the BWO came out as Kiss, at the ECW show the Doctor is in, there was a young Tony Khan in the crowd holding up signs. So Tony, always a good guy. Well, Tony's a great guy, but always a big fan. And in Philly, why not have somebody who was a staple of ECW with the Blue World Order just make a cameo? It doesn't, and they reached out. They're like, hey, do you want to do something? I said, absolutely. And they gave me the details. The fun part was trying to keep it a secret. My friends hate me because I truly believe in kayfabe and not saying anything. For one time I made a cameo at MLW, and I had a friend who was going there, just as a fan to watch the show. He's like, dude, you were texting me like you're at home, and then two minutes later you're walking through the curtain. I hate you. So when it came to AEW, that was like the ultimate try to, keep kayfabe. My wife worked on a disguise for me, just what would you wear that you normally won't wear? I'm on Google Maps scoping out where the entrance is, and it was like a scene out of a movie. Like
I need to ask what the disguise was. How did that look?
Oh, I look like a taxi driver, I'll be honest. It was like a button up, like plaid shirt, and she got me the little Jeff cap, and thank God for not thank God for masks. I mean, we need them, but the mask covered up, this part of me, and so you just get my eyes. And like my big motto is, you can go anywhere, just walk in like you belong there.
Yeah.
And I just walked through, and nobody even looked at me. So they said I was going to be with Crowbar on the show. So I get to the building, and I took a Uber. So I was like, oh, I'm halfway down the ramp. I was like, oh, let me finish off my drive here. And I'm finished off the drive. Crowbar walks by me. I go, hey, Crowbar. He turns around, like looking at me. I just pulled down my mask and go, ah! So that was a lot of fun, a little bit of excitement, for my week.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the one thing that, I mean, I'd looked up just after that match, because I was like, I remembered the MLW appearance. I believe that was in a battle royal of some sort.
Yeah, Battle Riot.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of odd little appearances here and there, but I was like, man, what a surprise, because it's the kind of thing where you're always in someone's, like, no one's gonna not recognize Blue Meanie. But it was just a great moment. Is there anything else that we might see come from that? Is it something that you're open to, or just a one-off and leave it in the past?
Hey, I'm open to whatever. I'm at the stage of my life where I'm just like that random cameo guy who does a run in, which is fine. It all started with Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore, because he would have me come out as an unannounced surprise. And he was like, how do you hide a 300-pound man with blue hair? But somehow we managed to do it. And it just became this thing where I just show up, which is awesome because, there's no pressure of, when you're promoting, on a show, there's the pressure of promoting it. Hey, come see me and all this. I just got to show up, and just.
You get all the good parts without any of the pressure at all.
Yeah. The pressure's on everybody else to draw their house. I'm just a surprise,
Well, I'm sure people, once the show has been, the thing they remember is probably always going to be Blue Meanie. So that's got to be great. One thing that I want to ask, because I know that was just a little cameo, but mentioned that you've been in very different environments. You'll look back to WWE back when it was WWF many years ago. ECW, which is probably about as far away from what we see on TV in terms of the product that we see now as, and then AEW. How different was it being in an AEW locker room to, maybe the Indies a couple of years ago and then back to WWE and ECW?
I'll say this, AEW's atmosphere in the locker room is a lot like ECW's.
Oh.
Just with, better production and less shenanigans behind less libations and party favors. But
the music is actually put on top of the production rather than being just played in the house to avoid copyright fees.
Yeah. But it's a similar atmosphere. Everybody in the locker room, in ECW, we all had the goal of putting on the best show. And there was a spirit to it where you enjoyed showing up to work. And AEW, that feeling backstage is, and hey, maybe it's just me showing up to one show and seeing it, but everybody seemed happy. Everybody was there for each other, watching each other's matches. Everybody was around the monitor watching the show like we did in ECW. And everybody just got along, and I showed up. I talked to everybody. I was talking to wrestlers. I was talking to production people. Just a really good atmosphere there. It was the anniversary of Eddie Van Halen's passing the day we did it, and I was like, as tribute, I wore a little Eddie Van Halen shirt underneath my button-up shirt. And production people were like, "Oh, cool shirt." We sit there and talk music. Just very casual. But professional atmosphere and definitely a great place to work. But you were asking what's it been like? You go from an atmosphere like ECW where sorry.
Oh, good.
You go from being an ECW to a company that raged against the machine to joining the machine. So, even though ECW was, technically a part of WWE, there were satellite, to WWE. As long as you didn't go to the WCW, you were good with Paul. But, it was different, a lot more competitive. A lot more people looking out for themselves, not in a bad way. You should always be trying to be doing what's best for you. Not only is the wrestling business a business, but as an individual, you are your own business. I'm the business of the Blue Meanie, so I got to do what's best for Blue Meanie, and that's what everybody did during the Attitude Era in WWE. But you definitely feel a little bit more pressure. You definitely realize how much more of a reach WWE has. I live in Philly, and being part of ECW, I would get recognized here and there. You appear on WWE TV, and you're getting followed. You're walking through a Walmart where normally you just, hey, Meanie, all right, hey, how you doing? to when you were in WWE, you're walking down and you feel people pacing your walk, like you're looking down an aisle and you're seeing somebody walking down the other end of the aisle, just looking at you, following you, keeping pace with you. I was like, and you're like, hey, am I being followed? Just yeah, but it's cool. It's part of the job. Hopefully I'm not getting too far off your question.
No, definitely not. I'm just sitting here enjoying every second. It's like
no,
absolutely brilliant to hear that kind of thing. Apart from not the following, it's not good to hear that part. That's it. You would hope it doesn't go too far.
No, I never went too far. As a matter of fact, most recently on either Twitter or Facebook, somebody was like, hey, I was one of those kids that used to knock on your door back in the day. Thanks for not being a jerk. Thanks for being nice to 10, 11-year-old kids would come to my door and knock and ask for autographs. You sign it. And then they're grown adults and they're like, hey man, thanks for being nice to me. So, and it's nice to be remembered. There's so many thousands of wrestlers that are out there. People can just as easily forget you. And here I am in 2021. I did stuff for MLW. I'm doing stuff for AEW. I'm in Retromania Pro Wrestling. I got a Wrestle Buddy behind me that just came out with Brothers Gatter. I got action figures coming out with Cella Toys. And I got a podcast that drops every Monday morning called Mind of the Meanie. And doing pretty good with that. And, just the fact that, people could choose whatever they want, but they tune into Mind of the Meanie. And it's flattering, and it's flattering because I know there's way more talented wrestlers out there that, never got the chance to shine. When I broke in, there were wrestlers who I knew were 1,000 times more talented than me. I just happened to get an opportunity. So here I am talking to you all the way over in Scotland, and then we're having this great conversation, all because of ECW and our love of professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's one thing that I know that, Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan always say, that legends are always treated with respect in AEW. And I think that's all we can really ask for. One thing that I wanted to ask about, I've got into this habit more recently when I interview wrestlers that have maybe just been released from WWE. And it's about, pitches that were made to them or pitches that they made. But I got one where I spoke to the Bushwhackers and they were talking about just as simple as wanting to be turned heel and not wanting to be turned heel. One thing that always came into my mind was the Blue Meanie, so synonymous with the color blue, obviously. Was there ever any bizarre pitch for you to be like, we'll turn them into the red Meanie, or we'll turn them into the green Meanie, or was there anything ever like that, or even just to change your character completely?
Nah, just when they brought me up to WWE, they were expanding their television programming, and they needed more talent. They were just about to start doing Sunday Night Heat. They just needed more wrestlers. So when they brought me in, Vince Russo, it was Vince Russo's idea. He was a huge fan of ECW, and legend has it, Paul would occasionally be at the WWE writing sessions here and there. But Russo pitched the idea for me to come in, and they brought me in as is. So which is kind of cool. But in another sense, when you're not a WWE created entity, you don't kind of get the attention that something they created.
Slightly less investment in there.
Yeah, because they get a little bit more of the pie as far as owning the likeness and stuff like that. So, but hey, there's no pitches to change my character.
No pink Meanie.
No, the one funny thing is when they it's not funny, but the first time they released me the week after WrestleMania 15, and they're like, hey, maybe just go away for a second, put on a new coat of paint and come back. And I thought they literally were just telling me I changed my face paint. So I changed my face paint for a little bit, which is all right. But that wasn't the message. So I took it literal. So I just changed my face paint. So, but no, they never really, the only thing they did, they asked me to lose a little bit of weight. And then I went overboard and lost 160 pounds. and they still fired me. But it is what it is, you know.
It's worked out in the end. I think that's one thing we can all say. Definitely has worked out at the end of the road. One thing, not that I'm saying you're at the end of the road, plenty more to come, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing that I definitely want to ask you about. We've got this far. We've mentioned a lot of things that Blue Meanie does. You know, you're a video game character. You were a wrestler. You still are a wrestler. You know, you do a podcast. We've not mentioned Monster Training Factory.
Oh, Monster Factory.
Yeah, I mean, I believe, I don't know if you're still a coach there, but I know you were a coach there for a long time.
Yeah, I just recently started going back. I was there a lot, and then just like between some personal things, not major, just life scheduling, and then the pandemic hit. But Monster Factory, the Monster Factory, which is over in Paulsboro, New Jersey, which churned out stars like Bam Bam Bigelow, Chris Candido, King Kong Bundy, The Godfather, most recently Sheamus, Matt Riddle, and Damian Priest.
Yeah.
Steve Cutler, or Steve Macklin.
Steve Macklin. Yeah,
he's had a couple names. You have to, but they're all my kids. Some of my kids. You know,
that was exactly what I wanted to ask you about, is because obviously, you know, maybe going back to likes of King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow, you might not have had quite as much influence. But I would assume with a Damian Priest or a Riddle, you've definitely had some kind of, you know, connection with them. I want to ask, you know, what do you think of just what they're doing now? It seems like they've come on leaps and bounds in the past couple of years.
They're doing fantastic. Damian Priest had been wrestling for a little bit by the time I met him, but in his case, what I would do is just give him just practical advice. Prepare him for a career to potentially try to get into WWE. And it wasn't just me; it was myself and Danny Cage, the owner of Monster Factory, and QT Marshall was there as well, and Bill Wiles from ECW. It was a collective of coaches, but with a guy like Damian Priest, you just say, hey, you know, this is what you got to do. And this is what you need to work on. And just work with people. And, everybody's different. You know, you got to prove it. You're not coaching, you're coaching personalities. And you got to learn everybody's personality and how to approach them. With Riddle, it was just a matter of, I don't need to teach him how to wrestle. He's a championship amateur wrestler, accomplished mixed martial artist. The best thing I could compare it to is reprogramming a motherboard on the computer. He was trained to, kill, go forward. If you see a weakness, attack it.
Yeah.
To dial it back, let somebody sell, and work the crowd. Just stuff like that. He had the tools. He has the personality. If you watch his UFC promos, he was very entertaining. It's just a matter of reprogramming it towards pro wrestling, and he's done a fantastic job. The one piece of advice I gave to him, and I give to everybody, is always be the professional wrestler that creative needs to tell to tone it down, instead of being the piece of talent they need to try to motivate to do something. So always try to, think of new ways to do things. Always work on your promos. Always have an idea. Always have a notebook. I to this day I still do promos, just looking in the mirror, shaving, or brushing my teeth, or driving in the car. I'm looking in the rear view, going, "What the fuck are you looking at?"